2 years after Hurricane Katrina, still some trepidation about going back and a lot of disappointment about the recovery efforts. We're joined now by three people who were in the Gulf Coast region at the time of Hurricane Katrina, and they've got their various reasons as to why they are disappointed about what's taking place in their former hometowns. Yasmin Gabriel is a New Orleans evacuee living in Washington, D.C. now. Laura Daly will join us right here from Jacksonville, Florida, and Jerry Peel is an evacuee living now in Little Rock. Good to see all of you.
Hi.
Hello.
Well, Jerry, let me begin with you. As we look at this 2-year anniversary this week, how do you go into this week? Do you start reliving everything that you experienced from, living in a senior home in New Orleans to being evacuated from it, spending 4 days at the convention center before eventually being bused to Arkansas? Do you relive all these memories all over again?
Well, my healing process, I guess it'll continue the rest of my life, but the big part is over. I've settled in quite well here in Little Rock. The VA facilities are excellent, superb, and I'm a veteran. So I've gotten a house now, and job prospects are excellent.
So you really have rebuilt your life as a result.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Laura, let me start with you then on this issue of, has it been difficult for you to rebuild, to kind of reclaim your life 2 years later?
Well, go ahead.
I think it's difficult for everyone. We've all experienced en masse, an amazing event in the history of the country. Imagine anyone starting their lives over again. I'm really fortunate in that I have family in Jacksonville. I have a tremendous support network of friends, relatives, people I haven't met. Jacksonville itself has been incredibly welcoming and supportive and helpful, and still you do have the moments, at least in my experience, where much as you want to hold it back, it's not possible. It's normal to have flashbacks and remembrances for many years. And I can say that my experience with FEMA, having had someone tell me that we all need to get over it down here, it's important that people understand we'll never get over it. And in fact, the country will never get over it. And the most important thing about knowing that is that we need to get it. There's no reason to have preventable losses, of which there were many along the Gulf Coast, and we all have terrible experiences to share.
Yeah.
If you want to hear those, let me know. People are tired of hearing of it. I'm tired of telling it. I'd like to tell people that you can move on. I personally can't go back to New Orleans. The New Orleans that I knew and loved doesn't exist anymore.
And do you feel like it never will exist
again? It will
again?
never. I'm absolutely sure it will never exist. It cannot be replaced. And you hear it from people who lost everything. You can't replace your memories. You can't replace your photographs. The people who made New Orleans what it was and made me love it so much aren't there.
Yeah. And so, Laura, you made your way to Jacksonville because that's where your twin brother is, and now that's home for you. And Yasmin, you're now in Washington, D.C., but you had another set of challenges that were before you because you wanted to continue your education.
Exactly.
Got pushed out of New Orleans just like, Laura and Jerry as well, and have had a difficult time going back, but you found a different route in which to go back. You helped document the struggles, particularly of college students who were displaced from all of this. Was this kind of cathartic for you?
It was definitely therapy for me, because losing everything, you think about yourself a whole lot, but I knew there were so many other people that were in worse situations than I was. So I'm going back home September 1 at Xavier to bring young people together so we can discuss what we can do to make our city positive, because people are still down there, and some people want to make it as good as it used to be, but we can't do that without the average person being involved in the solutions. So I'm bringing kind of the voice of the young people together to say, hey, let's go home, let's be held accountable and improve our city. And we're upgrading New Orleans. I'm very, very excited about it. So it's going to be really, really positive. And I'm in law school now at Howard, so Hurricane Katrina changed me totally. I was on my way to medical school, so this is a total different shift for me. But I want to fight for my people, but I can't do that without knowing the law. and without having my peers behind me.
And on the right-hand side of the screen, just so you know, Yasmin, we're showing images from your documentary, Picking Up the Pieces, College Life After Hurricane Katrina. This is one of the ways in which you are helping to really kind of open the eyes of a lot of folks of what it was like going through this. And what are you holding up now? This is your Uplift America, UpGrade America campaign that you're part of?
Yeah, well, we're going to launch it in New Orleans, but I really want to show young people that they can be like me and make a change, make a difference, and be a voice. Yeah. So we're doing everything from persuasive writing, how to read a bill, how to contact your congressman. There are a lot of bills, housing issues, educational issues. I've been defaulted on a student loan, and I can't even get a loan to go to college, to go back to law school, and that's a problem. And so if I don't speak up for myself, then no one will.
Yeah, that kind of explaining why you changed your major from medicine now to law. So Jerry, you have been a part of the fabric of New Orleans, just as all of the other panelists here. And just like Laura was saying, if people who made up that fabric of what New Orleans has always been don't go back, then New Orleans will never come back. Do you at all feel badly about that?
Well, there are tasks here in Little Rock. We still have hundreds of evacuees here in Little Rock. I volunteer to do assist them in every manner that I can. Also, I'm involved with ACORN in not only uplifting the survivors of Katrina and Rita, but also the locals here. I volunteered for Habitat for Humanity, who provided me with a home. I am installing computers in and training the families so that the children of these recipients will in fact themselves be donors.
All right.
And tell Mr. Jerry you can make some gumbo in Little Rock too, right?
I got a freezer full right now. Come stop by.
Don't tell me that. I am a struggling student. Don't say that to me because I might be there.
Come on. We'll shower you with love.
Well, and Laura, perhaps you get the last word on, do you miss New Orleans? And, you've said that you have no plans on going back there again, but you must miss it.
I have no plans to go back there and live, but I do want to say I think it's very important for people who want to go back to understand the commitment that is going to be required to rebuild a new city, because we can't rebuild New Orleans as it was in the sense of the people who either are no longer living or just no longer capable of coming back. I think it's important that the people who do go back are absolutely dedicated to the city and what its future is. If you look at the long term, the future is a little frightening. If you look at any of the global warming maps, you'll see in 25 years New Orleans will again be surrounded by water, and it won't be because of the levees. So I think forward thinking is really important, and most important is the fact that the problems that exist in Louisiana in particular are problems that have existed for a long time. Yeah. Exactly, and they exist everywhere, and it's important to understand that the same kind of thinking that created those problems will never solve them. So people have to find new ways of thinking about your neighbors, about your community, about your infrastructure.
Yeah.
And you have to see people as people, not people who are of a color or a social strata. They are people who are human beings like us.
Right.
And the first mandate of all people has to be to help others.
And Laura, I think that exactly underscores the kind of gumbo that Jerry has in his freezer, which really has forever made up, the tapestry of New Orleans. So I'm sure.
And you know what, guys? I just want to say something really, really quick. I know you guys have to go, but the thing that we're doing September 1, if you have a young person that's in high school or college and you feel that they need some direction, have them come to this September 1 at Xavier.
Well, and I am going back. October 7th through the 14th is the National Women Building St. Bernard Parish.
All right, good. Well, you all can get together and
have
that big pot of gumbo, folks. I think this is the promise that we're all going to have to make to one another.
And thank you.
I'm going to have to make a trip to Little Rock.
All right, Laura Daly, Jerry Peel, and Yasmin Gabriel, thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
All the best to you.
Good night.
Good night.